madhubatarитayate madhuksharanti sindhavah madhveerna santoshadhi madhunaktam utoshasi madhumatparthibhagum rajam madhudaurastuna pita madhumanno banaspatir madhumagumastu suryam madhvirgabho bhavantuna Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the winds blow sweetly. May the rivers flow sweetly. May days and nights be sweet to us. May the trees and plants be sweet to us. May the dust of the earth be sweet to us. May the sun shine on us sweetly. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be blissful. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is Thoughts on the Gita, part 111. We are studying the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, Gunatrayo Vibhaga Yoga, Discrimination of the three Gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva brings peace, brings light. Rajas brings activities, restlessness, and Tamas brings dullness, inertia. We do not see Maya or Prakriti, the primordial energy. We do not see electricity, but we see the manifestation of electricity. Similarly, we do not see Maya, but we see the manifestation of Maya through the three gunas. The three forces are working. The calm, serene, stability, that force. Activity, energy, that force. And tamas, dullness, inertia, sleep, that force. So they are constantly fighting inside all of us. In the 10th verse of this chapter, Krishna mentioned how they fight. Sometimes Sattva rules, Rajas, Tamas go down, then Sattvic feeling comes in our mind. When Rajas says, you are ruling for a long time, let me rule now. Rajas come up, subdues the Sattva and Tama, and it rules, brings on activity. Again, Tamas sometimes goes up and subdues the two other forces and rules. So this war is constantly going inside all of us. But each guna is essential for our existence, for our survival. Think of that. If there is no tamas, no sleep. Human beings cannot survive without sleep. Without rajas, no activity, human beings cannot survive. Without sattva also, calmness, serenity, human beings cannot survive. So these three gunas are very essential and they are playing within all of us. You know, this Maya is a very mysterious phenomenon. Playing all the time with the three gunas. This Maya, these gunas bind us, and these gunas releases us. It is true. These gunas, when this Maya diverts all these gunas toward the Sattva quality, that means we are going toward the spiritual life, liberation. When the same Maya diverts toward the Rajas and Tamas, we become very worldly minded. We want this world and enjoyment. These two paths, Preya and Sreya, the good and the pleasant, these two ideals are in front of us. What we want? We want God or the world. It is all within all of us, these Goonas, and now it is our choice. Today we shall talk to you about the signs of a person who has transcended the Goonas. Such a person is called Jivan Mukta, free while living. It is a beautiful, beautiful concept of Vedanta philosophy. In the Bhagavad Gita, we want to know the signs of an illumined soul or a Jivan Mukta. Krishna mentioned these signs of the illumined soul in 3 places of the Bhagavad Gita. In the last part of the 2nd chapter, he described the signs of a man of stage wisdom, Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna, man of stage wisdom. There he mentioned the signs of an illumined soul. In the last part of the 12th chapter of the Gita, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna mentions Sachame Priya, that devotee is dear to me. He mentioned a true devotee of God, he is also illumined. And the next that we are going to study today, Gunatite Lakhan, the signs of a person who transcended the 3 Gunas. He is also illumined. Now there is a question arises, how shall we know whether we are illumined or not? These 3 sections of the Gita will help us to compare our experiences with the scriptures. In Vedanta scripture, there are 2 ways to evaluate our spiritual experience. One is called Swasang-Vedda, another is called Parasang-Vedda. Swasang-Vedda means the person who is illumined, he knows. Example, seeing the face of a person, you cannot say that whether that person finished his dinner or not. Whether his stomach is full or not, you do not know. Only he knows. I know whether my stomach is empty or full. Outside people cannot tell me that my condition. And Parasang-Vedda means we know the signs of an illumined soul from the scriptures and from our teachers. So we put all the signs on that person who is claiming that he is illumined. And if he does not tally, we reject that person. Parasang-Vedda. Seeing signs from outside, we apply on that person who was claiming that he was illumined. This is the way it works. Nowadays, in this world, there are so many false prophets. Christ cautioned us, beware of false prophets. Christ denounced the hypocrites. There are many hypocrites now in this world, and they exploit some innocent people for their selfish motive, selfish and self-enjoyment. Hypocrites. Jesus said, "Woe to you, hypocrites, for you are the whitewashed tomb." Outside, beautiful. Inside, all rotten corpses. That is the way Christ describes the hypocrites. Your inside is awful. Outside you are pretending that you are spiritual. He further said, the taxpayers and the hurdlers will go to heaven before you. Very strong statement. Tulsidas, one of our medieval mystics, also mentioned about the hypocrites in Hindi. Amla करके करे ध्यान गृही होके बात आए ज्ञान योगी होके कूटे भोग भाग तुलसी कहे ये तीन कोली का ठग. Very beautiful. It is a doha, couplet. Some people take drug, alcohol, and with that they think that we can meditate, but it doesn't work. There are some worldly people, householders, they give lecture on Vedanta, the world is not real. He gives all fantastic lectures on Brahman. But it is not right. That person is not saying what he is practicing. And a yogi, a monk, is heavily involved with women. But these three persons are hypocrites in this Kali Yuga. Tulsidas mentioned. Now, next question is, what is Jivan Mukti? What is the proof? How to achieve Jivan Mukti? And what is the necessity of Jivan Mukti? If you study the Vedanta literature, at the end of each book you will find this Jivan Mukti chapter will come. Jivan Mukti is Lakshanam. These are the signs of the Jivan Mukti. Why is it so important? Shankara says, we are born Jivan Mukti Sukha Prapti Tabe Janmadharitam Atmana Nitya Mukti Nanatu Sangsara Kamaya. We are born in this world to get the taste of that freedom while living. Otherwise, Atman is ever free, ever perfect. It has no other necessity to come to this world with desire, to fulfill the desire. Jivan Mukti. I remember it was in 1960s, I was studying vigorously Vedanta literature. So I found a book called Jivan Mukti Vivek by Vidyaranya Muni, great Vedanta teacher, translated by Durgacharan Chattopadhyay. In the beginning of that book, the translator mentioned that one person told me that if you read 7 times this book sincerely, thoroughly, you will attain illumination. That Swami was Swami Turiyananda. So I had a desire to have that book, but I had no money. So one Swami was very kind to me. That book was published in Banaras in Mogniram Math, Mogniram Monastery. So he bought a copy for me and presented to me. I still remember, it is 30th November 1962. Still that book is with me. Time to time I read that book. It boosts my spirit, Jivan Mukti. I think there are some English translations available. As we are human beings, we are the doers and enjoyers, which brings more happiness and misery in our minds. This affliction is the bondage, chitta dharma. We are involved in this world with our attachments. When happiness comes, we are happy. When unhappiness comes, misery comes, we are unhappy. So we are tossed by happiness and misery. That is called human life. And Jivan Mukta, he is above. happiness and misery. In Vedanta literature, you will find these two words, karta, bhokta. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. There is another word is there, Ame Shakshi, I am the witness. So an illumined soul, a Jivan Mukto, he is the witness of this world. Beautiful. I shall read a passage to you. Swamiji mentioned in one of his lectures, be the witness. Say when the tyrant hand is on your neck, I am the witness, I am the witness. Say I am the spirit, nothing external can touch me. When evil thoughts arise, repeat that. Give that sledgehammer blow on their heads. I am the spirit, I am the witness, the ever blessed. I have no reason to do, no reason to suffer. I have finished with everything. I am the witness. I am in my picture gallery. This universe is my museum. I am looking at these successive paintings. They are all beautiful, whether good or evil. I see the marvelous skill, but it is all one. Infinite flames of the great painter. That means God. It's a beautiful way to see the lives of a Jivan Mukta. Be the witness. In the Yoga-Vasishta Ramayana, this topic has been discussed elaborately. Nodeti nastameti sukhi dukhe mukha prabha yatha prapte sthiti jaisasa jivan mukta uchyate. When happiness comes, his face is not elated. When misery comes, his face is not down either. Mukha prabha, the light of the luminous face of this illumined soul never changes. Luminosity remains. And he is established in his own self. That person is Jivan Mukta. He does not disturb anybody. He is not disturbed by anybody. And he is free from happiness and misery and fear. That person is Jivan Mukta. In Yoga-Vasishta Ramayana, they elaborately mention another three things. Vasanakkhay, Manonash, Tattva-gyan. This I told you many times. Cessation of misery, cessation of desires. When you have no desires, mind just stops. Manonash, mind dissolves. Mind cannot function without desires. So no desires, mind just stops. That we do sometimes in our meditation. We try to stop the mind. When the mind just stops, there are no waves there. At that time, we get the glimpses of the Atman within. If the top of your swimming pool is moving, you cannot see the bottom. If there is no waves on the top, on the surface, you can see the bottom of your swimming pool. Similarly, when the mind does not wave, no thoughts, you can see the bottom, below, with the luminous Atman. And then comes Tattva-gyan, self-knowledge. Manodrishamidam sarvam yatkinchit sacharacharam manohi amani bhavi dvaitu naupalabhyati. Whatever living, moving and unmoving things we find in this world, it is monodrishyam. It is all projections of the mind. When the mind becomes mindless, the duality is not perceived. That is the position of Vedanta. Now we shall start our text. Verse 20, chapter 14. Gunanetanotitya dehi samdeho samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhai vimukta amritam ashnute. The embodied one, having gone beyond these three gunas, out of which the body is evolved, is freed from birth, death, old age, and sorrow, and attains immortality. Dehi means Jivatma, the individual soul. And Deho means body. So this Atma lives in this body. Before I go further, let me explain a little bit to you Tadatmadhyas, how the superimposition works. What is the nature of the Atman? Consciousness, light. And here is the mind or buddhi, whatever you may call it. Do you know what happens? This consciousness reflects on the mind, and mind becomes luminous. That is the way we function in this world. Luminous mind, conscious mind. That consciousness is borrowed from the Atman. So mind becomes conscious. But mind is dull, dead, insentient matter, but it becomes conscious. How? Just like a piece of iron rod. If you rub, sometimes that iron rod become a magnet. It has an attractive power. We know it. It's a science. Similarly, the mind becomes luminous. When the mind becomes luminous, we understand this world better. Most of the people's minds, our teacher used to say, 15-20% minds are awakened. And it is just like an iceberg. 1/8 underwater, 1/8 visible. So remaining part are subconscious, unconscious. If whole mind is awakened, my goodness, will be illumined. Now, the mind's quality also superimposed on the Atman, Jivatman. How? I am happy, I am unhappy. You are the Atman, bodiless, mindless, everything, but you are thinking that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am happy, I am unhappy, I am Chetanananda, I am this, I am that. So the mind's quality is also superimposed on the Atman, and the Atman's quality, the consciousness also superimposed on the mind. This is called Adhyas. This whole world is nothing but Adhyas. Maya covered the Atman through his veiling power, and then the creation comes through projecting power. And now that is called superimposition. And Vedanta teaches de-superimposition. Remove this Maya, this Adhyas. That now you understand that these gunas are superimposed on the self. But if you transcend these gunas, it says, then what will happen? Otitya. You will transcend birth, death, old age, misery, everything you will transcend, and you will attain immortality. Amritam asnuti. Very clear. Just transcend these gunas. The three gunas bind us. Very interesting. Self in us is not product of the gunas, that is independent, the Atman. But at present it is touched by the body, controlled by the body, and naturally controlled by the three gunas. When this consciousness is connected with the body, we experience, I am fat, I am lean. Same consciousness connected with the sense organs. We say, I am blind, I am deaf, I am dumb. Same consciousness when it is connected with the prana, I am hungry, I am thirsty. When the same consciousness is connected with the mind, we say, I am happy, I am unhappy. When same consciousness is connected with buddhi, intellect, we say, I am intelligent, I am dull. Just see, it is the connection of the consciousness with all the various parts of the human system, and we get all the kinds of experiences. It is all how to separate this consciousness with the body idea. That is the whole focus of Vedanta philosophy. That will give you this experience of Jivan Mukti, freedom while living. How can we do it? Sri Ramakrishna told his disciples, practice meditation. Here is a brass pot. If you clean every day, it will shine like gold. But if you do not clean it, some stain will come. Later on you think that brass pot may be an iron pot, if the stain is too thick enough. Similarly, if you constantly practice meditation, your mind will be clean, dazzling, luminous. That he was talking about. These three gunas, how it covers the mind. One of the commentators gave a very beautiful illustration. Here is a kerosene lantern. Inside is the flame. But there is a chimney, glass chimney. If there is a smoke from the flame, the whole chimney becomes dark. You cannot see any of the flame at all. When the chimney is in red color, you see that light checks different things. But when there is no stain in the chimney, you can see the light, but you cannot touch it. Still there is a barrier. That's Sri Ramakrishna said. You know, when I was reading this commentary, it reminded me, during the Second World War in our village, there is a scarcity of kerosene oil. We could not, it was hard to study at night. We used to read with castor oil lamp. In the village we did not have candle. Or sesame oil, and with a wick, with that light we used to read books. And you will get one bottle kerosene, that also unfiltered, which is called not white kerosene and red kerosene. We will get red kerosene. That means it is not processed. And it will bring very dark, the kerosene lantern. And I remember as a kerosene lamp, my mother used to use it for her cooking at night. Very difficult to get kerosene at that time. Nowadays, I see people, electric light, what a great advantage to study. In school also, when I came to Calcutta, the house we had, no electricity. Kerosene lantern. So we can transcend these, as Krishna says, Janma, Jara, Mrityu, Vyadhi, all you can transcend all the gunas, and you will attain immortality. If you know how to transcend these three gunas, then Krishna will tell you more. What is the nature of the human being who has gone beyond the three gunas? We see people with all the gunas in them. Various types of human beings are there. If there is a type which is beyond the three gunas, I would like to know how does such a one behave, and how to understand that person. That question now Arjuna will ask to Krishna. Arjuna uvacha Koirlingai strin gunan etan otito bhavati prabhu kimacharo kathang chaitan trin gunan otivartate. By what mark so low is he or she known who has gone beyond these three gunas? What his or her conduct, and how does he or she pass beyond these three gunas? Koi lingoi, what is the sign? Lingoi means sign. How shall I know that person has transcended the gunas? Kimacharo, how does he function? How does he behave in this world? I'd like to know. How does the illumined soul live in this world? Beautiful question. One thing I tell you, the science of an illumined soul is an object of a person who is trying to be an illumined soul. That we'll have to practice. This science we'll have to practice. Then we'll be illumined. What is the lakshana of the sadhu, illumined? That is the object of practice for the sadhaka, spiritual seeker. The spiritual seeker must practice the science of an illumined soul, then they will be illumined. Shri Bhagavan Uvacham Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohomeva cha panjava na deshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. Prakash, pravritti, moho, the three gunas. Prakash means manifestation. He or she hates not the appearance of light, the effect of sattva, the appearance of activity, the effect of rajas, and delusion, the effect of tamas, in his or own mind, O Pandava, nor longs for them when absent. That means, if the gunas in his mind, in his system, in his mind, sampravrittani, when they arise, he doesn't hate them. Or he doesn't long to them to go away also. He's unaffected. Do you know why? What does it mean? It means he separated himself from the body and he is just observing as a witness. All these things are passing over my body. Let them go. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, dukkha jane or bad, mon jane or dukkha jane, dukkha jane or sharir jane, mon tumi anande thako. Let the suffering and the body take care of themselves. Oh my mind, you dwell in bliss. That is the stage Sri Ramakrishna Krishna is talking about. Just you come and go, just. One of our Swamis used to say, when a disease comes to your body, say, well, you are my guest, stay with me for 3 days, but you will have to go. I don't allow you to stay with me more than 3 days. It would be nice if that happens to all of us. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohumeva cha na sampravrittani. when they, he is not dveshti. When they are in the body, he does not hate them. And he does not also pray, nivrittani kankshati. He doesn't make any effort that you go. He is watching at that time. But we are so attached. In the Ashtavakra Samhita, in the Shanti Shatakam, there are a couple of beautiful verses. Akurtrittam abhuktrittam swatmana manyate yada tadakshina bhavanteva samasta chitta vrittayu. If you experience that I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer, so all the chitta vritti will stop. All the waves of the mind will stop. If you think that you are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer. Sukham aste sukham sete, that person lives in this world happily, goes to sleep happily. Sukham ayate jati cha, he moves in this world happily. Sukham bhakti, he speaks happily. Sukham bhungte, he eats happily. Vyavahar api shantadhi. Shantadhi means the person whose mind is calm, attains illumination. In the Vyavahar kshetra, in the waking, in the day-to-day life also, he is unaffected. Very difficult. But there are some people who attain that state. Unperturbed. Swamiji, in one of his lectures in America, mentioned one day a mosquito sat on the horn of a bull. And after sitting there for some time, the mosquito was apologizing to the bull. I am sorry that I gave my weight on your horn for a long time. I am sorry, I am going to leave. Bull says, no, you, not only you can bring your whole family and sit on my horn. It does not bother me at all. That is a beautiful incident Swamiji mentioned, example he gave during one of his lectures in America. I remember another story of Swami Brahmananda. There was a young man, he has some false steps. So Brahmananda was very fond of that young man. So he was avoiding Swami Brahmananda because Brahmananda knew that he has some lapses, moral lapses. Then one noon time, that boy came to see one of his friends in Balaram's house. So we just came face to face with Swami Brahmananda. The Brahmananda asked him, "Hello, how are you?" He could not speak because he was so shy. Then Maharaj asked him, "Have you seen the water buffalo?" "Yes, Maharaj." "Did you see the big horn of the water buffalo?" "Yes." If a mosquito or if a fly sits on the water buffalo's horn, does he feel heaviness? He kept quiet. Then Brahmananda says, "I am that water buffalo. You made a little mistake, I don't mind. You come here." Maharaj was Putit Pavan, savior of the fallen. Great soul, illumined soul. Beautiful example that how they look at this world with perfect equanimity of the wise one lives in this world. Padma Patra Mena, in the Bhagavad Gita we get another example. They are so unattached. You have seen lotus leaf? If there is a drop of rain there, you can see the dazzling drop of water there, but if the wind comes, water falls from the leaf. There is no sign of water there. That is the way a illumined soul lives in this world. No change, nothing in their minds. Udasinavadasino gunvirjana vichalati guna vartanta ittiva yavatisthati ningati. He or she who is sitting like one unconcerned is moved not by the gunas, who, knowing that the gunas operate, is self-established and swerves not. Udasina, complete unconcerned, indifferent. I sometimes give an example. If the baseball game, when we see our team cardinal wins, we get happiness, and when we lose, we get misery, we are unhappy. But if there is a game between Dodger and Mets, and I am the spectator, I am enjoying the game, I am not affected at all. Who wins, I don't care. That is the position of a witness. Anybody can win, I don't care, because I have no attachment there. Udasinavad gunoinam vichalati. These gunas cannot disturb them. We know in the spiritual life there are many temptations come. Patanjali says there are 4 stages. Pratamakalpika, Madhubhumika, Pragyajyoti, Otikranta Bhavaniya. In the Pratamakalpika, means the yogi just started his spiritual journey, he will not get any temptation. The moment he comes to the second stage, Madhubhumika, all temptations will come. Rich people will bring money, women, enjoyment, all these things will come. At that time he has some control over the mind and he is getting some kind of power. That is the most dangerous time in the spiritual life. At that time even the gods also try to tempt so that you may not try for liberation. Why? Because you worship me. If you are liberated, you will not worship me. Gods have also motive anyhow. In the third stage, Pragyajyoti. What is Pragyajyoti? At that time, his mind becomes an X-ray mind. He can see all pros and cons and all the ugliness of Maya. Pragyajyoti. His eyes are he does not see only the facial beauty. He sees inside, outside, bone, marrow, everything, disagreeable stuff, everything he can see. That is called Pragyajyoti. And 4th stage is Otikranta Bhavaniya. At that time, that is the illumined soul. His mind is such a high stage, nothing can bother him. At that time, he is in the 42 or 50,000 feet above. There is no wind, heavy wind is not there. So the plane can take tremendous speed. That is the way the yogis function. We know Buddha Deva was tempted by Mara. No. Ramakrishna was tempted. Christ was tempted by Satan. I remember a monk in Vrindavan. He was asked to bring some railway parcel from the railway station, and he went with the railway receipt. And he was eating some chanachur, some mixture. On his way, when he was walking to the railway station. In the meantime, a kite just hit his hand and threw away the chanachur and took this railway receipt and flew away. That monk did not come to the monastery. He walked 80 miles and went to Delhi. And the monastery, everybody was worried, what happened to that monk? Later on, he told what happened. Udasin, completely indifferent. Na priya priya sprishata. Ningati. The gunas are functioning in this body, let them function. But I am unattached. Na priya priya sprishata. Good and bad, happiness and misery cannot affect him. And he does not react either. The moment you react, that means you have attachment. I remember a sadhu used to say, another person was trying to make him angry. And this monk says, Dekho, amar er bhitere agun nahi. I do not have any fire inside. You may try to irritate me, but I will never be irritated. There is no anger, hatred inside me. They are all illumined souls. Prakriti, in the 3rd chapter of the Gita, Krishna also mentions, Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kasa ahmiti mannati. Which is the Prakriti is working through the 3 gunas, but vimudatma, a dull-headed person thinks that I am the doer. Actually, Prakriti is the doer. Guna guneshu vartanti iti matva nasajyati. The gunas, the tattvavitu, those who know the truth, they know the gun and karma, a division of gunas and karmas, actions. So they know the gun is connected with the gunas, but I am unaffected, I am unattached. Very difficult, but that is our goal. It happens in Sri Ramakrishna's life. The Mothur's priest kicked him and asked that, how did you capture Mothur Babu? Money, he wanted money. Sri Ramakrishna was in Samadhi, and then he left, kicked him. He was unaffected. Sama sukha dukkha swastha samalastashma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhira tulya ninda atma samstitihi. He or she who is alike in pleasure and pain, self-abiding, who regards a clod of earth, a stone and gold alike, who is same to agreeable and disagreeable events, who is wise and same in censure and praise. Beautiful words. Sama sukha dukkha. When his mind is even in happiness and misery, shama. Generally, I said, when happiness comes, we are elated, we are happy. When misery comes, we are unhappy. His mind is even. Swastha, he is established in his self. Sama lostasma kancha, sama means even. As you know, Krishna mentioned divine yoga in the 2nd chapter. Samattam yoga uchyati. Equanimity of the mind is called yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Skill in action is called yoga. This is the way Krishna defines yoga. Sama loscha asma kanchana. Loscha means a clod of earth. Asma means stone. Kanchana means gold. In illumined soul, these 3 things are same. As you remember, Sri Ramakrishna took some earth and money and he said, Money is gold, gold is money, money is chaka machi, money chaka. Money, and then he threw away both into the Ganges and told the devotees, money cannot bring God's realization. Tulla priya priyo, priyo apriyo. Priyo means agreeable, disagreeable, censure and praise. Priya priyo. Sometimes we are very partial. We love a person and we hate somebody else. This person has no priya priyo. Both are same to him. I remember a story of Kabir. When one of his critics died, Kabir began to cry. So his disciples said, Master, why are you crying? That person criticized you and hated you. Oh, no. He protected me all these years. He watched me all the time. Now who will watch me? He kept me in the right track by watching and observing and criticizing me. See, that is the sign of an illumined soul. If somebody criticizes, we go down. We feel bad. And if somebody praises, we become very happy. That we see in this world. But the illumined soul does not care. Another word he used here, dhira. Dhira means wise. Dhira means steady. In Kalidasa defined dhira. Vikaro hetu sati yesham chitamsina vikriyante taeva dhira. Vikaro hetu. There is every possibility of temptation, but his mind is not tempted, steady. That person is dhira. When all enjoyments are, you are surrounded by all enjoyments, but you are not attached to any one of them. That is called dhira. That is our goal. Most people want to hear praise, praise, praise. In this country, thank you, thank you, thank you all the time. If you do not do, oh, he doesn't appreciate. Anyhow. Next verse. Mana apamanayo tulla mitra adipakshayo sarvaramba parityagi gunatito sauchati. He or she is said to have gone beyond the gunas, who is same in honor and disgrace, same as friend and foe, and who has relinquished all undertakings. This verse sounds very good, but in our day-to-day life we know how sometimes very difficult to practice. Man, apaman, somebody will praise you, somebody will criticize, disgrace toward you, your friend and foe, and all in every respect you will have to keep your mind even, same. Swami Chetanananda went with a monk who was a revolutionary to the police officer who was a British. And that officer did not ask him to sit even, very disrespectful towards him. And Swami Chetanananda presented to this British officer that he has joined the monastery, he has no connection with the politics or the spiritual movement. Please do not send any spy in our monastery. So anyhow, so when he came out from the office, so this my young monk said to Swami Chetanananda, Maharaj, I am so disturbed that this fellow did not pay any respect to you. You are the General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Order. Oh, who can disrespect me? My body, mind belong to Sri Ramakrishna. I did my duty, that's all. That is the sign of an illumined soul. Mang chajo abhyabhicharena bhakti jigena sevate sa gunan samatita etan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And he or she who serves me with unswerving devotion, having gone beyond the gunas, is fitted for becoming one with the Brahman. Hey Krishna, here we find a nice thing. Some people think that only Jnana Yoga can bring the knowledge of this Brahman. No. Even Bhakti Yogena, or Babhicharena Bhakti Yogena. Intense, unswerving devotion also can bring the knowledge of Brahman. Bhakti cha mukti. Devotion also can bring liberation. There is a song of Ramprasad, Ami bhaktir jore kinte pari brahmamoyir jomidari. I can buy this world of Brahmamoyi, the Divine Mother, by the force of my devotion. Even Shankara also believed that moksha karana samagram bhaktirupi guriyoshi. Attaining liberation, bhakti is also a very important aspect of in spiritual life. If there is love for God, it becomes much easier. Love can make many things easier, especially if love is directed to the divine. Therefore, a devotee has a greater facility to control the mind and go beyond all this than one who is not a bhakta, not a devotee. So Sri Krishna says, Jo mam sevate, one who serves me, worships me. Through one point of devotion, he or she transcends all these gunas and becomes fit for achieving oneness with Brahman. Then the last verse, Brahmana hi pratishtha aham amritasya abhyasya cha shashvatasya dharmaisya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. For I am well known as the abode of Brahman, the immortal, the immutable, and of everlasting dharma and absolute bliss. This verse can be interpreted in two ways. Brahmanai pratishtha aham. I am the abode of Brahman, pratishtha. Sri Krishna says, I am the substratum of Brahman. I am eternal and immortality also comes from me. I am eternal, so all religion comes from me. I offer the eternal peace and bliss. Pratishtha. Another example, Ami Brahman Pratishtha means I am Brahman. Do you know what he was talking about? He is talking about I am Sagun Brahman, Nirgun Brahman. Both I am. Say Brahma Kirup, that Brahman is Amritamay, immortal, Apurinami, unchanging reality, Nitya Swarup, eternal, Dharma Swarup, spirituality, an embodiment of spirituality, and Oikeantik, Sukha Swarup, and infinite bliss. Means I am Satchidananda Brahma, existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. Swami of Brahma Abhinnayi. I am, Krishna says, myself and Brahman, we are identical, one. How? Moni Monir Jyoti. Here is the Moni, jewel, and this luster. You cannot separate them. Fire and its burning power, you cannot separate them. That is the way the Saguna and Nirgun are both in Krishna. That he was talking about. Guni Bhuto, condensed spirituality, consciousness. What he wanted to say, that even through devotion you can attain me in that, and attain this knowledge of Brahman and transcend the gunas. That he wanted to say. Anyhow, we finished 14th chapter. Masatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mritturma amritam gamaya, abhiravirma yedi, rudrajatte dakshinamukam, tenamam pahi nityam, om shanti shanti shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality, light us through and through, and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Om, peace, 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 control. Next Sunday our topic will be stories of Vedanta monks. Now we shall go for Zoom. Please give us a few minutes time. Thank you.